ibye twatsinda burundu akarengane na ruswa. U Rwanda ruzira ruswa n'akarengane mu cyerekezo 2050. Radio Imanzi 105.1 FM. Gusesagura n'ubupfapfa. Zirikana ko iyo mbimenya ari ijambo ribi maze ukoreshe neza imari yawe. Radio Imanzi 105.1 FM.
We got you updated. This is Radio Imanzi News in English.
This is Radio Imanzi, broadcasting from Kigali. Here is the news in English, brought to you by Fiona Umugano. The headlines. The Ministry of Education has harmonized the contribution of parents to basic and technical education in public and subsidized schools to end disparities in education costs. Different ambassadors representing Israel in various African countries visited the Kigali Genocide Memorial, where over 250,000 victims of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi are laid to rest. The world has never been in a better position to end the COVID-19 pandemic, according to the Director General of the World Health Organization. Welcome back. News in detail. The Ministry of Education has harmonized the contribution of parents to basic and technical education in public and subsidized schools to end disparities in education costs. According to a ministerial instruction that was released this morning, this category, parents with a pupil in nursery or primary school in this category will pay 975 Rwandan francs per term. According to Dr. Wamadia Valentine, Minister of Education, parents will equally provide school uniforms, notebooks, among other scholastic materials. Parents with students in secondary day schools, including technical and vocational education training, will raise a maximum of 19,500 per term. A parent or guardian with a student in boarding secondary or TVET school will pay 85,000 Rwandan francs. To these, parents will add school uniforms, scholastic materials, hygiene equipment, bed equipment, a mosquito bed net, a student card, and insurance. The Ministry of Education is aware that for some schools more money might be needed, but schools were not given the luxury to charge whatever pleases them. For boarding schools that have mattresses, they were given leeway to charge students 9,000 Rwandan francs for repair or for maintenance. This money will be paid every 3 years. Education officials said that everything that is not in this instruction would never be covered by a student. Some parents have been complaining about the cost of school uniforms, and to this end, the Ministry of Education decided that parents have the freedom to buy uniforms from their market of choice. However, given that some schools might have already engaged costs in this effect, this decision will take effect from the academic year 2023-2024. Other decisions will take effect in the next academic year 2022-2023. Dr. Uwamaria further clarified that for nursery and primary school, the government will contribute to school feeding with an amount of 8,775 Rwandan francs per pupil per term. The government will also continue to cater for infrastructure construction and rehabilitation and to cover salary costs for public and government subsidized schools. Different ambassadors representing Israel and various African countries visited the Kigali Genocide Memorial, where over 250,000 victims of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi are laid to rest. The delegation, which is in the country for their annual retreat, includes resident and non-resident ambassadors for Rwanda, South Sudan, Zambia, Botswana, Zimbabwe, Ethiopia, Kenya, South Africa, Angola, Ghana, Senegal, Nigeria, and Ivory Coast, as well as officials in charge of Africa from Israel's Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Sharon Barley, the head of Africa Division at Israel's Ministry of Foreign Affairs, said the horrible events that took place in the genocide have to teach us. They have to make us have a vision towards a better future, but also to remember and remind us. She added that Rwanda and Israel share a similar history of Holocaust, something which compels them to work together, not just for commemorating but also educating the next generation and doing their utmost to ensure that the atrocities never reoccur. The Rwandan Parliament has adopted a new draft law governing public procurement that will enable Rwanda to use international standards and resolve long-standing issues recorded in the tender management. The proposed draft law, tabled by Minister of Finance Uziel to the Chamber of Deputies is a revision of Law 62 of 2018, which was enacted with the purpose to cater for use of e-procurement system in public procurement. Minister Ndagijimana said that the implementation of the current law faced a lot of challenges as expressed by different users, including procurement professionals, bidders, tender committees, regulatory and control bodies, civil society organizations like Transparency International Rwanda. Key concerns raised during the implementation of the current law included having many provisions relating to the implementation, which would have been delegated to implementing orders, severe loopholes, giving room to corruption and misuse of public funds, lack of necessary procurement methods to promote innovation. The Finance Minister said the new bill aims to fill the gaps resulting from the dynamic socio-economic development and comprehensively include all the principles of public procurement, innovation and professionalism with a comprehensive approach to green public procurement. The national carrier Ronda Air is set to join the One World Alliance, a major network bringing together different commercial airlines around the world. According to officials, the move will significantly strengthen the carrier's performance both on the African continent and beyond. Established in February 1999, the alliance, which as of 2020 operating a fleet of 3,296 aircraft and serving about 1,000 airports in 170 countries worldwide, is one of the biggest networks in the world. It means that a member airline of the alliance is able to access all these destinations on a single itinerary. With its partnership with Qatar Airways, a core member of the alliance, Rwanda stands a chance to join One World, and the former has pledged to provide guidance and necessary support to fully integrate. The Ministry of Trade and Industry has deployed teams across the country to inquire into factors behind drastic rise in Irish potato prices, among other food prices, to the extent that has been recorded for the first time. Donatil Mukeshimana, a farmer from Nyanje sector of Musanze district, attributed the spike in prices to heavy rains which were followed by prolonged dry spells. According to her, the yield is at its lowest in as many years. Currently, a kilogram of potatoes, which are even of poor quality, goes for 400 Rwandan francs at the farm gate and over 500 in close urban areas such as Musanze town, and in Kigali, a kilo goes for up to 600 Rwandan francs. Other farmers attributed this to the increase in inputs like seeds and fertilizers, which has ended up discouraging some farmers from continuing to grow the crop, creating a shortage. Fabien Sengimana, another farmer from Nyabihu district, said some farmers have moved on to other crops like wheat because currently potato seeds cost up to 1,000 Rwandan francs from 400 a kilo, while inputs like fertilizers doubled to 1,000 Rwandan francs a kilo, which smallholder farmers cannot afford. Jean Chrysostom Gabitsinze, the Minister of Trade and Industry, said they will have the report this Friday after properly understanding the factors behind the price increase. A Turkish company, Dogas Group, is looking into investing in Rwanda's hospitality sector by setting up at least 3 luxury resort hotels. This was announced by Ferry Sahin, the group chairman, following his meeting with the Prime Minister Edward Ngirente, which was held in Kigali. According to him, they plan to construct high-end luxury hotels and restaurants in Kigali and Karongi district, especially around the Lake Kivu belt. Dogas Group is one of the largest private conglomerates in Turkey. It has a portfolio of 250 companies in 7 industries, including high-end car dealerships, retail stores, restaurants, cafes, construction companies, radio stations, and media and tourism businesses. Ferit says that Dogas Construction is committed to establishing a regional office in Rwanda and bringing on board the teams to assess all necessary technical aspects of the projects in the various sectors.
Urifuza kumenya ubuhinzi ndetse n'ubucuruzi bw'indabo bukorera mu Rwanda? Bella Flowers ni umushinga ugamije guteza imbere ubuhinzi bw'indabo ndetse no kuzamura ubucuruzi ku isoko mpuzamahanga. Nyarukira kuri YouTube channel ya Radio Imanzi wirebera ubuhinzi bw'indabo muri Bella Flowers. Witinda kora subscribe kugira ngo urusheho kujya usobanukirwa byimbitse ku buhinzi ndetse n'ubucuruzi bw'indabo binyuze muri Bella Flowers.
Economic news is a regular feature on Radio Imanzi. The Ronda Stock Exchange Market Report. The trading session recorded a total turnover of 103,792,600 Rwandan francs from 385,800 shares traded in 3 deals on the equities market and 20,537,040 Rwandan francs worth of bonds traded in 2 deals on the fixed income market. Bank of Kigali closed the counter at 272 Rwandan francs. The trading session recorded a total turnover of 103,577,600 Rwandan francs from 380,800 shares traded in 2 deals. I&M Bank closed the counter at 43 Rwandan francs. The trading session recorded a total turnover of 215,000 Rwandan francs from 5,000 shares traded in 1 deal. Bralirwa closed the counter at 164 Rwandan francs. Simirwa at 120 Rwandan francs. M10 Rwanda at 176 Rwandan francs. Equity Bank at 440 Rwandan francs. Kenya Commercial Bank at 370 Rwandan francs. National Media Group at 1,200 Rwandan francs. Uchumi Supermarket at 104 Rwandan francs. And RH Buffalo closed the counter at 526 Rwandan francs as the market closed. The currency market review of today. The Kenyan shilling buying price was 8.5 Rwandan francs and the selling price was 8.7 Rwandan francs. Tanzanian shilling buying price was 0.44 and the selling price was 0.449. Ugandan shilling buying price was 0.26 and the selling price was 0.27. Burundian franc buying price was 0.49 and the selling price was 0.5. The US dollar buying price was 1,027 and the selling price was 1,048. The British pound buying price was 1,183 and the selling price was 1,207. The euro buying price was 1,026 and the selling price was 1,047 Rwandan francs.
Some items of international news on Radio Imanzi.
Nairobi has been ranked 5th in terms of the number of dollar millionaires in Africa in a report by research firm New World Wealth and Henley and Partners. The latest Only Global Citizens report, which tracks private wealth migration trends worldwide, shows Nairobi has 5,000 high net worth individuals with at least $1 million. The report shows South Africa's business hub, Johannesburg, has $15,200 millionaires, the most in Africa, followed by Egypt's capital, Cairo, which has 7,800. Another South African city, Cape Town, has the third largest concentration of wealthy individuals on the continent with 6,800, followed by Nigeria's most populous city, Lagos, which has 6,300. However, no African city made it to the list of top 20 cities global that have the highest number of dollar millionaires. The list was dominated by U.S. cities. The world has never been in a better position to end the COVID-19 pandemic, according to Director General of the World Health Organization in his most optimistic outlook of the years-long health crisis that has killed over 6 million people worldwide. Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus said, "We are not there yet, but the end is in sight." That was the most upbeat assessment from the UN agency since it declared an international emergency in January 2020 and started describing COVID-19 as a pandemic 3 months later. Gabonese President Ali Bongo Ondimba has dissolved the Ministry of Public Works Equipment and Infrastructure, citing incompetence. This was announced by the Prime Minister Rose Christian Osuka Raponda reading a presidential decree. The decision, the Prime Minister said, follows many complaints from citizens over the deterioration of urban roads. The President ordered the creation of a department under the Prime Minister's office that will take over the operations and staff of the dissolved ministry. The leader of Namibia's largest opposition party said he had written to Germany asking it for renegotiation of the genocide agreement reached last year between the two governments. People's Democratic Movement leader McHenry Venani says he wrote to German Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock last week, but is yet to get a response. In Namibia, Germany was responsible for massacres of the indigenous Herero and Nama peoples, which many historians consider the first genocide of the 20th century. In May 2021, after more than 5 years of bitter negotiations, Germany announced that it recognized that it had committed genocide in this southern African territory, which it colonized between 1884 and 1915, and promised development aid of 1.1 billion over 30 years to benefit the descendants of the two tribes. Germany stressed that the aid would be paid on a voluntary basis and that the agreement was not comparable to reparations. Many Namibians rejected the agreement, saying that the descendants of the Herero and Nama had not been sufficiently involved in the negotiations, and that the Windhoek government had been forced to accept the text, which was presented to the Namibian parliament a year ago, but has not yet been adopted. With that, we come to the end of tonight's edition.